welcome to my assessment 2 for Arctic Studio 4. Going back over my first design and feedback, one of the main points I was given was to try not to make the design so tokenistic, as with this one I only really touched bases looking into just the symbolism of Aboriginal art and what it means just to create my form, but I realized pretty early on that my design was quite expansive and I really wanted to kind of congest that a bit more. So it's kind of how I went into my second design. Going back through my research, one of the variables that really stood out a lot when I was doing the initial kind of evaluation of the Turrbal people was that they were a fishing tribe, and that they saw the Brisbane River as this kind of source of life within their culture, this support system, and that was something I really wanted to kind of build upon within the second design. So as you can kind of see here, my initial form started as kind of like more fluid, organic shape to kind of represent the fluidity of the water of the Brisbane River. And then overhead, you would have these oblong kind of structures that represent the dugout canoes that were not only used for fishing, but as shelter as well. And I thought that was a component that was quite interesting to include. Moving on to my second one, I kind of played around with, again, the centralized idea of this kind of central meeting point and having the ends of both sides as these connectors that you would meet up towards the middle, and then played around with kind of these kind of larger canoe-like structures that I thought would, if I enlarged them, it'd be a bit more interesting, it would be a bit more distinguishable from far away. Moving on to my third one, as you can see both here as well as my iteration model just on the right hand side, I included this kind of like more longer kind of like second layer of a walkway. It'd be a bit closer to the river, but still at the minimum height of where both surveyors can go through, and then it would act as more of this kind of scenic route in a way to kind of decongest both the walkers and the cyclists. That way the cyclists are free to move above the top as much as they want, with the walkers if they wanted to go more of that quick route and have that more vast kind of viewpoint, whereas the second level would mean mainly just for anyone who wanted to go for a stroll. And this is where all my commercialized areas would be. And it'd be a bit more kind of an intimate experience between what the top one would be. And this kind of moves on to where my fourth design and where I'm at with this design of the oblong structures. I played around with just having them on top and then just on the bottom level, and it wasn't really connecting, so I decided to add the two just to try and connect the two layers a bit more. Moving on to my final iteration model, I kind of just shown how each component was inspired by. So you have a centralized idea with Aboriginal symbols, the very bottom layer as the Brisbane River, which was inspired by, and then the oblong shape inspired by the dugout canoes. In terms of the materials, stainless steel and concrete were always going to be, from a construction viewpoint, added into this design, with the concrete using as the pallet type as well as the foundation, and the stainless steel as a way of holding up these oblong structures in a way. With the indigenous tribe being very deeply connected to the environment, grass was always going to be a component that was always going to be added. In terms of the oblong structures themselves, I was playing around between having something a bit more contemporary with the stainless steel or going more traditional with the hardwood, as it was a material that was always traditionally used to create these canoe-like structures. In terms of the timber decking, I thought they would be a good way to kind of represent where the commercialized areas were or where the observation points would be, just to kind of distinguish them between what is and what isn't. In terms of the coloured cement pavers, I thought there would be a little bit more of a connection between that and the symbolism between dot painting in a way, and have these kind of symbols end and into the ground itself, like the sea turtles or the fish that they use for hunting, and it's kind of a little bit more, I guess, in a decorative sense point, more connected to the history of what they used to do back then. Moving on to my final panel, it's just a visualization of my design with the area, so you kind of see a little bit more of an overhead right here, and then you got a bit more of a 3D perspective, and then a look more into kind of this perspective area right here. So it's a little bit more of a visualization of what the design will potentially look like. Thanks for listening.